Hey everybody, welcome back to our Walking Dead reviews. This week it is Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 11, The Code. With me as usual is Jason.
Heyo. Much like Limp Bizkit, we gotta keep rolling.
Love it, it's the highlight of the whole thing right there.
Oh yeah.
So, The Code. We are in full swing here for second half of Season 4. A Morgan-centric episode for sure. But not just Morgan. You know, we'd been told and we'd seen some new people that were going to be joining the show, and we got to meet them this week. I think all of them. I think all the 4 new people. So what we had Jim.
Yep. We had Wendell.
Wendell. I was about to say Wheezy, but Wendell,
Yep.
Sarah, and Cheryl.
Yep.
And the only one I recognized right off the bat was Sarah, played by Mo Collins. I don't know, Jason. This might be before your time. She was on In Living Color for years. Do you remember that show? It was a sitcom show on Fox.
No, that's definitely before my time.
Yeah, there it is. That's where Jim Carrey got his start. I always thought she was great. No, wait, no, I'm sorry, not In Living Color. No, Mad TV. The other sitcom, the other skit show on Fox, Mad TV, which actually went up against NSL SNL. Went up
fine.
against.
Either way, still before my time.
Okay, so you didn't recognize her at all. Which one stood out to you the most?
The crazy lady at the end, Cheryl.
Cheryl, what the heck's going on with her having a walker pinned against the wall? What was she writing on there? I didn't really catch a lot of what she was writing.
She was writing the same stuff that was on the boxes. Take what you need.
Leave what you don't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I would have to say that Sarah did, because I recognize that actor. She didn't, it was kind of weird because I've always seen her in comedy. Seeing her in a serious role like this, although albeit a lighter role, I would say, very interesting character. I was not thrilled. I've seen her do better stuff, but overall, an interesting mix. I think, and I focus on this more than anything, because the interaction between the cast here and this new cast and Morgan. We see a lot of scenarios, obviously, in The Walking Dead that brings people together. This has got to be one of the darker scenarios that are bringing people together. In most of the time, I mean, sometimes it's for survival, and sometimes you have situations like Tara, who was part of the governor's group, but for... go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, or in this case, a really fast version of Stockholm Syndrome, apparently.
Yeah, It's very interesting. I think the Jim character is really interesting. Actually, the scenario I didn't give much thought to until that point. It's like, you know what? I bet you beer is a pretty big driving force for people, especially after a couple of years now. People drinking old beer or warm beer and stuff that they're just kind of finding sitting around. Somebody who can probably brew it.
Yeah.
Is probably fairly influential. I think that's an interesting scenario. We don't really know what's going on with Cheryl yet, but she's creeping everybody out. She's got a walker pinned to the wall. She's, she's drawing on him and stuff, and that's weird. But Wendell and Sarah, couple bad hombres.
Yeah, it was kind of. I got a dark sort of chuckle out of the fact that Wendell's whole justification for why he's a dick is because he's in a wheelchair. He's like, yeah.
That whole scenario with Morgan, though, in the bathroom, that was gold, though.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah.
That was great. Why do you guys always... And you know what? I am a culprit of that as well. And it's because it is kind of like a little apartment.
Yeah. I get you.
Okay. No, very interesting situation. So I applaud the show for putting us in another scenario that is different from what we see most of the time. I don't think they said much about this. Do you think that this whole chain of truck stops and such, do you think this is vast? Do you think there's just a few?
I think it's probably just a few. I think because we learned that their whole story about, fringe truckers was just a BS that they came up with. So if it really is just one guy with a truck, then it's probably pretty local, would be my guess, or like along one stretch of highway.
And there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there is.
Jeez. I mean, they're not having a hard time at all.
So do you think when the dude who originally owned the truck shows back up, he's going to be pissed?
That if he's still alive, that's interesting. And I don't think they've shown us anything for that individual yet, not even in the previews.
No, and it's interesting because somebody who's capable of scavenging that much and then willing to leave it behind means that he's already scavenged enough to keep himself alive, and he's confident enough that he doesn't need it to leave it behind.
Yeah.
So that speaks to some sort of off-screen badass. I hope they bring more into that and they don't just turn out he was some random schmuck.
I do too. I hope that there's more of a focus on this whole scenario. This is interesting. I hope we get to spend a few episodes dealing with this. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of one of the main focuses of the season. That also being getting the group back together, whoever's still alive, and in dealing with this as a whole. Yeah, no, it's intriguing. This whole connection, all these these truck stops and these truckers or whatever, and how big this is, and how vast of a system and a network this really is. Very interesting, especially being led or apparently being led, or at least helped by Cheryl, who has got some problems.
Oh yeah, that's putting it lightly.
Yeah. So very, very interesting. I love the things are very gray here. The show's been doing a fairly good job of that. Your heroes are not squeaky clean. They have some trouble, and we see that with Morgan. Turning his back on that scenario, and I really enjoy that. And we saw some of that the following or the previous week as well with Alicia, who seemed to have been maybe getting past some of the problems that she's having, and then at the end it's like everything sucks and it's just gonna get more suck, and it's like, whoa, all right, somebody get her a kitten, something.
Yeah,
Morgan turning his back, but he's not wrong.
No,
hey, I think I did worse than any good that I did here, and maybe I just should leave him alone.
Well, and Morgan has a history of running. That's kind of his thing.
Yeah. This didn't seem like that. This didn't seem like the same though.
No, because I really got sort of the that feeling from when he starts hearing all their voices on the bridge. I really got that sort of dead wife vibe from him that we got in season 1.
Okay, all right. So you think that maybe if he goes there and he finds nothing but death and misery, you think he'll start going into clear mode again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Morgan at this point is probably one of the most hardened guys in the area, but he's also mentally very fragile, and we've seen that multiple times.
Yeah, and I'm glad, especially since they've given him such a prominent role in a show, for good or for bad. They're giving you a pretty good Morgan here. They're not pulling punches as far as the issues that he has. He also gets a bit self-centered as well. And that probably all plays in it. Like, before this, he just thinks he's so damn right about everything. And, he can't be wrong about what he's saying. And we've seen that before. They're doing a pretty good job with him. I may not agree with everything they're doing with Fear, but what they are doing is turning out to be pretty good. Yeah.
Granted, we're only a couple of episodes in.
Well, yeah, but we're well over the full season, though. This is 11 of 16 for the whole season.
Yeah, I meant for the second half.
Oh, sure. So the whole scenario with the guy dropping off the boxes, what little I caught of Talking Dead last night, part of what I did catch is that this is based on a real scenario of emergency assistance helpers, just leaving boxes for people. I think it was, I hope I don't get it wrong. I think it was for hurricane survivors in Texas.
Yeah, Harvey.
Yes, Hurricane Harvey. Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
That's based on that. They said, hey, this kind of inspired this whole scenario. So that's pretty cool. So that actually kind of makes me wonder if they're going to follow through with this thing, or if they're going to kind of try to leave that as a mystery person. I hope they do, though. I think there's a good story behind this whole thing. And
yeah. Granted, I feel like half of The Walking Dead plays out like some sort of missed connections, like opportunities wasted.
Yeah, and that being said, I kind of like the missed connections too. One of the things I didn't like about season 8 was in the first half when they brought what's his name? It's the guy who left at the end of season 1. They brought him back as a savior. You know?
Oh,
yeah. I forget his name. But I always thought it was really cool that we didn't know what happened to that. In that, in this world, that's the way it should be. They actually talked about bringing him and his family into fear. Initially, they were saying that they might come across them because he was heading west when he left, and that eventually he would pop up in fear. No, he didn't. He popped up. He popped up in season 8, and appropriately so. Within a couple minutes, he gets his head filled with a crossbow bolt.
Yup.
So, but yeah, I think some of these misconnections and things, I think that's appropriate. I don't think that's a bad thing that we don't find out about some things, and not everything has an ending to it, because sometimes you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the scenario with Morgan stuck on the car?
I mean, it was fun to watch, but again, it felt very like rushed Stockholm syndrome, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so all right.
I don't know. I'm conflicted. Like I liked some parts of it, but the scenario, just the speed of how quickly he immediately decided, I'm gonna go all out for these random people who kidnapped me and threw me in a car. Just felt a little off.
Now, are you talking about Jim?
Yeah. Who are you talking about?
I was talking about Morgan being stuck on the car.
Oh.
But that's all right. Go on with Jim, because that's definitely something we're talking about.
Because like the Jim escapes getting kidnapped. Morgan brings him back.
Mm-hmm.
Jim's understandably upset with Morgan, but then they both get tied up, or whatever you want to call it, restrained. You'd think that there would be a little more working together than what we got. There would be a little less quick turnaround.
I'm caving in.
Yeah,
well,
especially for somebody who went through the trouble to escape once. If he was going to cave in that quickly, wouldn't he have done it the first time?
I agree, and I do think that's a little odd. I think they could have played that scenario out differently. Excuse me. I agree. I think that's a weaker part of the episode. Jim's just like, hey, I can do this. All right. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that he's seen and hearing about a civilization that can help him out. Maybe that's going to possibly Alexandria and all that, and that helps sway him. I don't know, but yeah, no, it felt a little off to me too. Okay, now let's talk about Morgan on top of the car.
All right. Well, let's hear your thoughts first.
I thought it was interesting. I thought that was pretty cool when he gets the road sign. And any variation of a staff or stick will do. Does he get his stick back at the end of the episode?
I don't remember.
I think it's in the back of the truck, isn't it?
Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. So we've seen him with his stick, we've seen him with a shovel, and now we've seen him with a road sign.
Yeah.
So we're getting all kinds of different variations here of Morgan killing things. I thought it was interesting. A couple close calls, but obviously... Well, there's a couple things. One, he's basically the lead character of the show now. But secondly, important characters in the show don't die alone. There's always somebody to see it happen.
Yeah.
So, you knew he was going to be okay. I thought it was an interesting scenario. Not the first time we've seen something like that. But let's see. What else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the episode. Interesting stuff. I'm expecting at least half of these characters to die this season. these new
Oh,
characters.
yeah.
Something's going to happen, and I still think they have not sold me on at all somebody in a wheelchair surviving this long, because we're about 2.5 years into the apocalypse.
I don't know. I haven't given up on it. Like I think it's feasible, and hopefully they play out a little bit more with that.
Yeah, they have to sell this to me though, because
Yeah.
they have not convinced me that this is a thing. I mean, there's so many, and why he's in a wheelchair, we don't know that either. It sounds like he's been in there since birth. Kind of get that impression, but we don't know for sure. And why he's in there and what level of mobility he has. These are all things that weigh into whether or not I actually buy that that's a likely scenario. Since that's not their truck, how the heck are they getting that big guy in and out of that truck?
Yeah.
Because that's obviously not built for, there's no lift to it bringing him in. So, this matters. These small things matter. You're going to, 2.5 years into a zombie apocalypse, you're going to try to sell me on a guy in a wheelchair. You better sell it well.
I'm with you.
All right.
Alrighty.
So, let's see. Let's rate it. Let's go ahead and rate it 1 out of 5 mini brews.
I'm going to give it 3.5.
Okay, I'm going to go with a solid 3. It was good. There are many questions. There's some solid foundation here. But, yeah. You know what? No, I changed my mind. I'm going 3.5, just like you.
Yeah.
I'm going 3.5. All right, we're 3.5 here. All right, guys, let us know what you think. What did you think of the episode? What do you think of our review? What do you think of these new characters? Which one stood out to you? What do you think's going on with Cheryl and her Wadeco Walker? Let us know. Go ahead and comment below. But until next time, that's going to do it. Any last words, Jason?
Yeah, when you're out and about in the zombie apocalypse, watch out for Wheels and the Leg Man.
Nice. All right. Okay, there it is. Watch out for those guys. We will see you next week.
Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.